of votes. Again, not the majority, because sometimes people confuse that. Majority means over 50%. Highest means even if you win by one vote.
It has to be 50%.
Yes, it can be one vote ahead. So the highest number of votes, that's the first condition. The second condition is that you must win 25% votes across 2/3 of Nigeria's 36 states, which is 24 states, plus this is an and FCT.
You must win FCT.
You must win at least 25% in FCT.
Okay.
So even if you win those 24 states, you have 25%, but you don't get 25% in FCT, there's a problem.
Wow.
Exactly. If you win those 24 states or even more, but you don't get 25% in FCT, there is a problem. And we've said this times without number or time without number. There is a problem. Why? According to the Constitution in Section 134, that's what she was quoting, you have to win the majority of the votes, or you have to win more votes than any other person. Let's just put it that way. You win more votes than any other person. And then, in addition to that, you get 25% in 24 states. Then, in addition to that, or further in addition to that, you get 25% in FCT. But why is FCT important? We've said this to say the president is the governor of FCT. The vice president is the deputy governor of FCT. The Senate and the House of Representatives are the equivalent of the House of Assembly for FCT. So you begin to understand why it is important that the governor of a state should have at least 25% of their state. It just goes without even saying. We could even argue that you need to get 51% in Abuja. We could even argue that you have to get 50 plus in Abuja to be the governor of Abuja. We could even argue that. But the Constitution didn't say that. The Constitution said you must get 25% in Abuja. They could have even said you have to have more votes than any other candidate in Abuja, so that if there are plurality of candidates, then if the votes were divided up that no one gets up to 25%, they could say, well, at least you should have the highest vote in Abuja. They didn't say that. They said 25%. But this was said before the election. But people are still arguing. Some SANs, senior advocates of Nigeria, are arguing about these things. What did they read in law school? They are arguing about this thing. This was interpreted in the time of OBJ. That the Constitution was clear. The and was, I think they used the term conjunctive or so. You have to have this and that to fulfill the mischief that was addressed by that Constitution, Section 134. And people can join other sections to talk about Abuja being one of the states. But they will forget the clause that says, in context of this and without prejudice. So you can't just bring in your own interpretation in, and then say clearly that in context, it is just only a state to this point. Whereas when it comes to governance in Abuja, it makes an exception because the president is not the governor in your state. So it makes an exception for Abuja to say, without prejudice, in this context, Abuja is only called a state for so reason. And it will have one senatorial zone, not three like other states. And it says it will not have a governor, but the governor will be the president. So there are some concessions. There's some reasons. There's a place where Abuja will be taken as a state without prejudice, but there's other conditions that you will not take Abuja as a state without prejudice. So the Constitution was very clear what you need to do to win the election. And this was written in 1999. How these guys, how Mahmoud, what's his name, Yakubu, did not read and understand and interpret this and ask questions, I cannot understand. And this lady was on Arise News before the election because they were talking about the number of people that registered, number of people that collected their PVCs and all that. This was way before the election. And at the end of the day, they want to bamboozle us. And this will not work, and this will not stand. This should not be allowed to stand. I'm not calling for any kind of disobedience in whatsoever way, but I'm just saying, for good conscience, the judges, I hope that the tribunal will come out with the right judgment and say the Constitution was violated by INEC, declaring somebody a winner who didn't meet the constitutional requirements. I'm hoping that the tribunal will do that. And if they don't do that, I'm hoping that the Supreme Court should be able to do that. And this should be determined quickly. This didn't need, this was, the election was called since March 1st. The whole of March to April 1st, the whole of April to May 1st, and we're on May 22nd. This is ridiculous. They should be called in one day. They should have clarified to us right away and say, oh, the Constitution, we're throwing it away. Let's just go, we're Nigerians. We can deal with anything that comes our way. Well, the Constitution is useless. Let's just throw it away. But Abu Salami didn't know what he was doing, or whoever gave us the Constitution, I think it was Abu Salami. He didn't know what he was doing, so let's just throw that away and just move on with our lives. They could say that. And then we know that, well, yeah, we're moving on. But you can't say you have a constitution and you keep breaking it when it suits you. All right, yours number one unofficial interpreter for everyone. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let's know what you think. Bye-bye.